robots fighting. Those two words together move like LeBron and Wade. From that two-word idea, we've created entire genres and franchises built around that simple concept. Robots throwing down. Gundam, Pacific Rim, BattleBots. Some may say that it is an infinite money glitch. It's a genre with a near-perfect success rate on getting people turned. Just like how you can watch gay people gain a second wind when they hear Into You at the club. All these works fall into what my esteemed colleague Professor Chayati likes to call epic bacon cinema, which are all movies that are made with an earnest intention of awesome. It's not about story. Who cares about the script economy? Mise-en-scene is for cowards. It's all about awesome sauce. When I was 8 years old, Real Steel was one of the most awesome sauce movies I have ever seen. It's robots boxing, you know what I mean? It's Rock'em Sock'em Robots the movie. It is a quintessential early 2010s product that shaped my frontal cortex. It is a leading scorer in the type of cinema where there was a 50-50 chance that it could also be an Xbox 360 game. Speaking of which, what if Evo was mainstream and we just put giant robots in it? That's the world Real Steel explores. Gamers can hang up there with the greats like Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Michael Reeves, Floyd Mayweather, and Manny Pacquiao by completely dissolving humans from boxing and adding giant fucking robots to it. I'm sorry, Jake Paul. You gotta hang up those gloves if you don't have Mecha Paul with you. But congratulations, Super Smash Bros. Player. Your days of shower canceling are over. It's time for you to control the many robots at your disposal, like Noisy Boy, Zeus, Twin Cities, Midas, and of course, the Senna of boxing robots battling Maxo. I don't remember the discourse around this movie because I was, 8, but in every 2011 discussion I found of Real Steel, I would constantly see people make the Rock'em Sock'em Robots connection. Maybe a lot of people thought that Hollywood is cashing in on another popular toy robot. Well, they didn't. Not yet, at least. Real Steel actually came from a 1956 short story called Steel, written by Richard Matheson, the author of I Am Legend.
Oh, that's hot.
Steel introduced the world of robot boxing. It later got a full adaptation in a Twilight Zone episode in 1963, and then, like all things in this world, The Simpsons would do it too. The premise is simple. Boxing becomes abolished due to violence. People could die. Humans have rights and values. But do you know who doesn't? Clankers. Yeah, they're gonna box now. We're gonna let machines take over, and just like a fresh graduate in a post-COVID world, you're unemployed, buddy. Machinery 1, humans 0. However, as stark and pessimistic you'd probably expect this story to be, coming from a 50s outlook on machines taking our jobs and also being on the goddamn Twilight Zone, it is surprisingly optimistic about how machines will never hold a candle to the human spirit. This is a story about obsolescence in a mechanical world that doesn't want you, and they're not doom-scrolling about it and making you afraid. They're telling you that your humanity is your strength and you shouldn't give in. Pro-humanity in the face of automation is a theme that would be more befitting now, with AI slop violating my eyeballs everywhere I go. I would have never expected a theme of this kind back then. 1956, I apologize, I wasn't familiar with your game. But 1963, why do all of your boxing robots look like a microwave DB Cooper? Other than that, there's nothing much to talk about with this short story and its Twilight Zone adaptation. It's okay, it doesn't overstay its welcome. For a Twilight Zone episode, it's middle of the pack. It's not so much epic bacon, it's more philosophical bacon. You couldn't really take this story beat by beat and make a huge popcorn blockbuster out of it because it'll just fill you with dread and make you ponder. But hold, robots are boxing. If you're a Gemini film bro, you probably think Shawn Levy is the physical manifestation of evil. Imagine a Ryan Reynolds-shaped Cerberus with each individual head being Free Guy, The Atom Project, and Deadpool and Wolverine. Shawn Levy directed all of those, and unapologetically made us endure 3 long years of Ryan Reynolds. If the titans of epic bacon cinema had a Mount Rushmore, Shawn Levy is absolutely getting carved in it. He is an incredible example of hype moments and aura being a filmmaking style. A journeyman, if you will. Going from the coolest Marvel to the epicness of a Star Wars. He's like if Rob Reiner exclusively made movies for your friend Evan who does nothing but jerk off and play Valorant. However, there's one thing you can't deny, and that's the box office. Unironically, if you're a studio head who's greenlighting a giant blockbuster from a massive IP, I would trust Shawn Levy with my life to make me some goddamn money. It's 2009. Shawn Levy is editing Date Night with Steve Carell and Tina Fey. Then a T-Rex smashes through the wall. Oh my god, it's Steven Spielberg. Hey Shawn, do you want to make a movie with robots boxing? And that's exactly how Real Steel got made. I think given Shawn Levy's filmography, you can easily write off Real Steel as a vapid, shallow, nothing burger of a blockbuster. The kind of movie that gets a tie-in game from Gameloft and evaporates from cultural memory in 6 weeks. However, just like a Kanye fan huffing extreme amounts of copium, Real Steel is Shawn Levy's graduation. This movie is actually good. I'm being completely serious. It's one of those films that's somehow better than you remember from when you were a child. Yes, it's tailor-made for 13-year-old boys. Yes, it is a stupid robot boxing movie. But somehow, I walked away respecting this movie a lot more than I thought I would. It's not perfect. There are flaws. But god damn it, does this movie have a soul. You think you're getting 2 hours of robots boxing, but what you're actually getting is a story about fatherhood. And it somehow works. The robots are big, the punches are loud, and the emotional arc is sincere. Over the past couple of years, the only movie that has managed to make me cry is Hamnet. Somehow, for whatever godforsaken reason, Real Steel has brought me close to tears on multiple watches. This stupid robot boxing movie somehow packs an insane amount of love, passion, and care in a way that shouldn't normally work, but it does. And a large part of that is directly because of Shawn Levy. Filmmaking is a headache-inducing labyrinth that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. There are so many different cogs in the filmmaking machine that are all absolutely vital to the overall filmmaking process. I've personally worked on films here and there, and I know a lot of people who've worked on much bigger films than I have. And I think a lot of them would tell you that their job would be made much more easier if the director had a clear vision, kept things on schedule, kept things reasonable, and was not an asshole. After watching nothing but behind-the-scenes featurettes of Real Steel, Shawn Levy displayed everything I just described. This movie would never be the way that it is without him. It's interesting because I never really knew Shawn Levy's whole deal. He's always just been around. He somehow gets his paws on huge blockbusters, and the Shawn Levy train has no signs of stopping. But from what I've seen, if he runs those sets the same way that I've seen him run Real Steel, then his success makes perfect sense to me. I originally assumed that the studio got a good emotional script in their hands, then Shawn Levy epic baconed it. But it's actually the opposite. Shawn Levy wanted less boxing and more father and son bonding time. He didn't think the film would work without it. Honestly, great move, Shawn, because it's this element that takes Real Steel to another level. It speaks volumes about Shawn Levy's vision for this film when the scene that makes me close to tears is the one that he says is executed exactly the way he envisioned it. The easiest route you could have taken with this movie is a rehash of Rocky and just make it about an underdog Hugh Jackman punching up to the big leagues with his robot and nothing more. Many filmmakers would make a movie about that struggle and focus on the spectacle, but it wouldn't have been unique because it's, you know, Rocky. In retrospect, it was an amazing decision to make the world of robot boxing a vessel for a father to build his relationship with his son. Because of that, Real Steel has an element that many of its contemporaries don't have: a big ol' heart. ARG. Real Steel has an ARG. I love ARGs, man. It makes me feel like I'm Jake Gyllenhaal solving the Zodiac case. It makes the autistic parts in me scream with joy. 42 Entertainment is like if the people behind Cicada went Hollywood. This is a company that focuses entirely on ARGs. You may recognize their work as the people who made the I Love Bees ARG for Halo 2, a Jonkler ARG for The Dark Knight, and the Flynn Lives campaign for Tron Legacy. Are these ARGs necessary to understand the product they're advertising? No. Is it cool? Yeah. How the hell did Real Steel get one? 42 Entertainment supposedly made another elaborate ARG just for Real Steel. If you went to PAX in 2011, you could have gotten a paper cardboard cutout of the Real Steel controller. On that controller is a random code and a link directing you to WRB.com, the site of World Robot Boxing. It doesn't work even if you Wayback Machine it. All the captures can't access like 95% of the site's features. A lot of what I'm about to tell you comes from very few unverified sources, like a forum thread dedicated to this ARG on Unfiction, 3 news articles, and an uncovered seemingly corporate video about a Real Steel ARG in Singapore. So, when WRB.com first launched, it was nothing but a bunch of progress bars and a place to input codes. Every controller received from PAX had their own unique code, and every time someone would input a code, the progress bar would go up. Eventually, all the codes were inputted, and what you got was, from what I can find, some little video showcasing Zeus for the first time and a podcast guide that sounds like Remy from Ratatouille. If you're one of the people that put in a code before the progress bar finished, 42 Entertainment would eventually find out where you live and ship you a poster of the robot Noisy Boy with a bunch of mysterious numbers in the back. Deciphering the numbers would lead you to a new link that contains a short video showcasing Noisy Boy for the first time. Then, at E3 2011, you could get real steel trading cards that would direct you to a bot workshop website where you could create your own online boxing robot. With your little virtual mans, you could participate in a bunch of training minigames that center on striking, dodging, and mixed. No footage of this one though, so we largely don't know what these minigames entailed. Then, after some time, the site would update again, and this time it would be with a full 3D fighting game powered by Unity, completely in browser. It was all single player going against AI, and the gameplay was very Punch-Out-esque, and you were able to play with the custom robot you made from the workshop site. From what I've found, this site was up for a while, but any archival footage or images are extremely scarce. So I don't know how deep this game actually went, but from this recovered video on the site, you could fight Noisy Boy, Adam, Twin Cities, and more. And for all the sweats out there, it also had a leaderboard. And finally, the last bit of ARG was a link that showcased a 15-second clip of Noisy Boy versus Midas. And then it just kind of ends. No grand reward, no massive final reveal, and nothing if you achieved best of the best status on the leaderboards. Additionally, there's one video that talks about a grand real steel ARG in Singapore that's based around missions on Facebook. It talks about scanning in-universe websites, finding real posters, building cardboard robots, and more online minigames. I have no idea what's resulted from this ARG either, or if both ARGs even connect. But whatever it is, something led to Hugh Jackman advertising the movie on Monday Night Raw.
And I know in your new movie, Real Steel, you coach an underdog and you make him a winner.
That's right.
But you know what?
What?
That's a movie.
Don't you hate when you click on a movie-related video and then they spend the entire fucking video regurgitating the plot and then anything original they add is like 10 seconds of bullshit? So I'm not gonna do that. Go watch the movie. However, I gotta admit, it's not normal to remember the plot of Real Steel. So if you need a crash course, here's what you missed on Real Steel. Hugh Jackman was a boxer, and then the Japanese made anime and robot boxing. Robot boxing became the biggest thing in the world, because of course it would. Are you kidding me? Now, Hugh Jackman is a bum, and his only motivation?
Opportunity. No. Money.
The year is 2020. Oh no, Hugh Jackman loses a fight against a bull. A fight he gambled that he'd win. And he didn't get even. He got worse. This gambling plot isn't going to come back again. Enter Max, Hugh Jackman's 11-year-old son he has not seen since birth. Max's mom died, so custody defaults to either Max's rich aunt or Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman responds to this responsibility by selling custody rights to Max's uncle for $50,000 so he can buy a brand new spankin' robot. Father of the year. But wait, Max's aunt and uncle booked a trip to the White Lotus in Italy, so Hugh Jackman is stuck with Max all summer. Hugh Jackman hates his child. Max hates Wolverine and burgers.
I told you I hate hamburgers!
Their relationship is going to be a rocky one. Father and son take their new robot to their very first fight. Father and son go dumpster diving and search for their brand new boxing robot. After Max experiences what an average Wednesday for Nathan Drake is like, he is saved by the corpse of the robot that will take these two to the next level. Adam. Adam's old, scrawny, small, scrappy, and also might be sentient. You know where this is going. Training montage. Underdog arc. Going to the big leagues. Will this washed-up dad and weeb son win it all? First, they need to get through an entire fighting games roster's worth of robots. I love designs where upon first glance, you know exactly what they're about. Whatever production designer Tom Meyer and his team cooked up for this movie was as perfect as a Steely Dan song. These designs go way harder than they need to be. Every robot is packed with so much character that I notice different things about them on closer inspection. Six Shooter has revolver barrels for arms and they blast when he pumps his fist in the air. Blacktop has a combustible engine and every movement he makes sounds like a motorcycle revving up. And there's one robot whose entire gimmick is that he can duck his head down like whack-a-mole to avoid a punch. And the funny thing is, as much as I hype up the level of design and care with these robots, they only show up for like 6 seconds in the movie. For something so minor and for it to be so realized, it makes the overall movie feel much fuller. Shawn Levy says they spent a lot of time in pre-production stages designing 19 or 20 unique individual robots with distinct characteristics, and it really shows. Noisy Boy was made to look as slick and efficient as a Toyota Supra. He's made to look like the physical representation of Tokyo Drift, with bright LED displays flashing text that translates to Doom, Oblivion, Pow, the end.
It's Chinese for Japan.
Metro looks extremely fucked up and dopey. He is the amalgamation of hundreds of different parts all Frankenstein together to create a monstrosity, a pure function over form robot. There are no thoughts in that head. He looks like the fourth stooge. All he has is a sledgehammer and seizures. Midas looks like the entire WWE Attitude Era in one robot. Motherfucker is walking around doing the Degeneration X sign and rocking one hell of a mohawk. And just like the king that Midas is based off of, he's gold because King Midas turns everything into gold. I like that. Like I said, these robots are fighting game worthy and oh, look at that. Nice. I would love to see the full lookbook or a comprehensive art book compiling all the different designs they cooked up. I want to see every scrapped idea and more. I even read that they considered making a robot that bounced around on springs to pay homage to kangaroo boxing. Shawn Levy really stressed the aesthetic of retro forward, where even though everything is futuristic, there are elements that still feel familiar. By grounding high concepts into the things that we experience day to day, I think that decision helped sell me to the world and circumstances of real steel a lot faster than I would for other fantastical worlds out there. I don't need to think about the logic of Quidditch, how still suits work, or worry about what the fuck an Allspark is. This robot just has razors for hands, and that makes sense to me. Am I stupid? The behind-the-scenes featurettes talked at length about how it was really important to showcase the mechanics of the robots in their designs. They wanted the robots to first and foremost look like they were made by people. It was the movie's way of differentiating themselves from Transformers. Real Steel made an active effort to showcase all their many gears, pistons, servos, and gyros. The Real Steel bots looked a lot more familiar than alien because of it. There's aspects about each robot that feel so lived in, like you can actually go out there and touch it. Wait, they're real?
Find me something good.
Oh, God, we'll see. Okay.
According to Shawn Levy, before filming started, Spielberg urged him to create full life-size rigs of every robot. It's the Jurassic Park play. Make it real and then fake it. It sounds counterintuitive, but what you're doing is giving your overworked VFX team the best reference footage they could possibly get. And shockingly, when your actors are interacting with something that actually exists, it looks much better than interacting with air. Who knew? If you made anything practical in a movie in 2026, they would take you out back and shoot you. You never hear about this kind of movie making anymore. And that's part of the reason why, despite all the technical advances we've had, VFX can still look terrible. Other than crazy turnarounds and crunch culture, a huge tumor making VFX look terrible is the lack of intention. We have full green screen sound stages filming for a background that isn't completely realized yet. And with such an emphasis on we'll figure this out in post, a scene might change completely halfway through. Many such cases of a VFX team given the all clear to work on something like making Adam throw a nasty right hook, and then halfway through, some dipshit is like, actually make him hit a Batista bomb and then have lasers shooting out from his eyes. Nobody on set initially planned for that. The lighting setup isn't remotely right. Most of the time, it's going to look weird because it doesn't slot in as easily. Mix that in with not enough time to smooth it out, and that's when you get this. Legacy Effects is responsible for these physical robots, and they all did a great job. The whole idea was to shoot scenes that were half practical, half CGI, and just stitch them together so seamlessly you forget where one ends and the other starts. Which means, yes, they actually puppeteered these things. Full-size robot torsos, arms, heads, hydraulics, actors physically grabbing metal instead of emoting at balls. It adds a sort of magic, wonder, and awe because this kid isn't reacting to a tracking marker in a mocap onesie. Well, mostly. This kid is actually there with Adam. He's looking up at something that's physically there. It goes beyond CGI that's so good it suspends your disbelief. We're getting into the territory of it's magical because it actually happened. Now, obviously, they didn't build two-story robots and let them beat the shit out of each other for real. For any actual boxing and movements, CGI would need to step up, and when they do, you can thank James Cameron. Other than unintentionally creating a trend of shitty 3D in movies, Avatar also popularized a huge technical advancement called simulcam. What simulcam does is allow the camera operator to actually see where the CGI would be while filming. So instead of filming empty space and guessing where the robot would be, you can frame it on the day. You can't do this without rendering the CGI before the shoot day. You're making VFX decisions in camera, not we'll fix it in post. That's why all these boxing scenes feel so incredibly smooth and natural. It also helps that all these scenes are motion captured by real boxers. They somehow got boxing legend Sugar Ray Leonard as a fight advisor for this movie. And what he and the rest of the stunt crew did was help add authenticity to these fights. It's incredibly helpful when you're trying to choreograph these fights, and then you get a boxing legend telling you, alright, so this is what I would do. Why doesn't Hello Kitty have a mouth?
I'm a vampire. I've been around forever.
The official explanation is that her blank expression lets you project your own emotions onto Hello Kitty. It's a psychological thing. When you're happy, you see Hello Kitty is happy. When you're sad, Hello Kitty is sad. When you keep losing your ranked up game to Diamond in Overwatch, Hello Kitty is also hard stuck. Adam follows that exact same design philosophy. He's just a little guy that you can never definitively pin down emotionally, which is perfect. I love Adam. I love an underdog. He's the people's champ that just kinda stands there, staring into the abyss. What's going on in there? No idea. I don't need to know. He hasn't done anything wrong in his entire life. He shows up, he boxes, he does Fortnite dances. Adam is pure. He's just a guy trying to do his best, and that's enough. Adam works because he's a character that doesn't deal in absolutes. He's expressive without being defined, and that ambiguity is doing a lot of heavy lifting, especially when the movie starts flirting with the idea that he might actually be sentient. There's a couple of scenes where they heavily allude that some thoughts might actually be going on inside that head. And apparently, this sentience was going to be more definitive. Shawn Levy says that the decision to keep Adam's sentience ambiguous was only a super last-minute fix on the day of the zoo scene with Adam versus Metro. He originally intended for Adam to fight in the scene without Hugh Jackman or Max controlling him. That would have opened the floodgates to all types of shit. Do robots feel pain? How do they feel that their entire purpose is to box? Do they feel like slaves? Will Real Steel 2 just end up becoming Detroit Become Human? If they went down this route, this would have been an entirely different movie. Just like how Good Will Hunting was almost about Matt Damon on the run from the government. The second you confirm that Adam is sentient, it's going to be a nagging question in the background while Hugh Jackman tries to bond with his son. It would have been way too distracting. Richard Matheson's Steel dealt with a world where humans can't outpunch machinery. It's about obsolescence and the concept of getting benched by a Roomba. It raises the question if our human spirit and resilience is stronger than a world where machines are everything. With Real Steel, it's not that deep. Hey, we got BattleBots in Madison Square Garden. I talked about Shawn Levy's aesthetic of retro forward, and it seems like the only thing that's really forward is the robots and nothing else. The world Real Steel portrays is almost exactly the same as our own, but we all collectively decided to make robot boxing into a multi-million-dollar operation. And it seems like these advancements in robotics are purely for boxing alone. Do we use these robots in any other capacity? Do we have robot labor? Can we fuck a robot? It seems like, for some reason, we only use this tech to further boxing. The World Robot Boxing League itself is a very interesting discussion that Bill Simmons would have cranked a 40-minute pod on. Because what's going on here? How does the league work? What are the rules? The only rulebook I found comes from the ARG with the Noisy Boy poster. And it's pretty accurate to how real boxing works. The judging criteria is correct, there's 1-minute rest periods in between rounds, a 10-second knockout rule, but the rounds are much shorter. In the WRB, we got 5 rounds that are 2 minutes each compared to 10 or 12 rounds 3 minutes each. But the biggest change is that TKO, technical knockout, is not a thing in the WRB, which makes perfect sense because TKO is to protect the health of the human boxer, and we don't need that because these are robots. The WRB is going to let them fight to the death, and it's going to be awesome. There's also a couple of interesting rules here. They're not going to allow robots with more than 2 legs, but for some reason 2 heads are fine. There's a height restriction where you can't make a bot over 8'6", but there's no indication of different weight classes in the WRB. So theoretically, we can have a 5-foot-tall Sabrina Carpenter robot go one-on-one against Zeus. And also virus checks, so they don't have a repeat of Data Scourge 2016. What the f*** happened in 2016? Also, why don't the people who control the robot ever get any recognition? Anytime they talk about how good a robot is, it's never about the person manning those controls. That's wild. Imagine if Max Verstappen's car got all the praise, but for some reason not Verstappen himself. The robot shouldn't be anything if the user is shit, and Hugh Jackman proved it twice in this movie. When they talk about Zeus, they talk about how well made he is. Literally zero mention to the goblins manning those controls. And speaking of controls, I really like all the different setups we got going here. We got a Steam Deck controller, Pip-Boys, and entire multi-monitor setups. Are there any regulations for this? Someone must have gotten a crazy advantage from the type of controller they use. Is there an equivalent of the Counter-Strike Razer keyboard snap-tap controversy in the WRB? And how does Hugh Jackman get away with largely using voice controls in this movie? Voice controls for gaming is the most unintuitive thing ever. I've used Kinect voice controls before and that shit doesn't work. And when milliseconds are on the line here, I cannot believe he can make this work for him. But filmmaking-wise, it works. Watching someone mash buttons silently would be the least cinematic thing imaginable. Shouting commands are electric. It's stupid, but it's electric. On another random note, in 2011, I was deep in the console war trenches and I was a die-hard Xbox patriot. In the arena, there's a little poster that advertises the Xbox 720. And because of that, I genuinely thought it was coming. It's embarrassing, but yes, I was a believer for a while. The future of Real Steel is very unclear. There's been talk here and there about a potential sequel. And since 2022, it's been reported that a Real Steel TV show is being developed for streaming.
So right now I'd say TBD, but I wouldn't say likely.
The movie grossed $300 million with a budget of $110 million. So it was a success, but not like an Avatar level of success. And given how Real Steel is viewed now, it's not a rabid enough fan base to warrant more movies. If you ask me, I think we should leave the franchise alone. The movie worked not because of the premise of boxing robots. Yes, so much thought and care went into the World Robot Boxing League and all of its bots, but the movie worked because that was all just a big Trojan horse to actually be a story about fatherhood. By making more, you're essentially doing a Rambo by going further and further away from what the original intended with its themes. Sadly, this is Hollywood, so anything can happen. Real Steel is a flawed gem. It's one of those movies that kinda just happened in people's collective memory and left without leaving much impact, and time hasn't really given it its flowers. However, given the quality of the overall film and watching every snippet of how it's made, I can't deny that real love was poured into the making of this film. Maybe you don't feel the same as me, and that's okay. But you can feel that the people making it actually cared. It's a belief that bleeds through the screen. It's a quality that makes even the worst movies feel special because they didn't treat it as a write-off. They genuinely cared about it. Also, Bing Arena,